See? Yes. Hi, welcome to this live stream. The topic will be going no contact, why it is so important, how to do it, and what effects no contact will have, both the positive and the challenging aspects. So welcome here, everyone, and if you're watching this in the replay, welcome. Welcome to comment any experiences that you may have or questions. Okay, so this is the first live after the Christmas break. We were on a break for 2 weeks. And yeah, my Christmas was calm and peaceful. And I'm back to my normal job now, so everyday life is returning. Okay, and right now we are in the period where I'm trying to upload one new video in the Rebuilding Your Life After Narcissistic Abuse free course that you can find on my YouTube channel. And as I'm doing that, I'm trying to keep the lives on the same, or not exactly the same as the course video, but on a related topic. And if you watched Monday's video, it was about the phases that comes before it's time to rebuild. And those phases are, well, first, the acute stabilization. If you are moving out of a joint home, you need to stabilize so that you have housing, some basic income and food, and then the emotional and the physical detanglement. And so no contact is very relevant to this topic. And I have prepared presentation that I will go through, and then we will see if there are some people who will join the live. If there are, we will do a Q&A if there are some questions after the presentation. And as I said, if you're listening to this afterwards, write any questions or comments in the normal comment section. Okay, so let's go into the presentation. Yes, let's see, can you? There it is. Okay, so before we talk about no contact, I want to go through some basics, because a toxic relationship or a relationship with a partner who is showing narcissistic tendencies, it does not function as a healthy relationship does. And that is why the necessity to go no contact, or that is why many people who are knowledgeable in the field advise you to go no contact, or try to go as low contact as possible if you're breaking up with a narcissistic person. But to understand why that is, I want to first take a look at a healthy relationship. What is that really? So here I have a couple. They both look happy and cooperative. A healthy relationship is a relationship where you both have a shared responsibility. You share the responsibilities. So if we're now talking about a romantic relationship, a mother and a father, there are responsibilities and chores that must get done. It is providing, so working and getting an income. It is taking care of the home, the cleaning, the kids, and then there may be some other obligations that like the family might be participating in something. The kids may have some activities on their free time, and so on. So there are things that need to be done, and in a healthy relationship, that those responsibilities are shared. Of course, it doesn't have to be exactly equal all the time, like cut in the middle with a butter knife, but there should not be a huge inequality. So there should not be one person who's always responsible for the brunt of things, always responsible for everything in the home, everything that has to do with the kids. Everything that needs taken care of falls on one person's shoulder, and the other person only contribute when it is something that they want to do, when they choose to, or when it is something that is a bit public, like the typical toxic partner. They will, in everyday life, they won't do anything to help out. But say that you have some guests over, then suddenly they transform to helpful and assisting you. And the same thing if the family is invited to some activity, then they are really engaged with the kids, and so they are putting on a different front. That's typical, but in a healthy relationship, the responsibilities should be shared between the partners. They should also have an equal say. So they can communicate, they can speak with each other and express concerns or discuss questions, and they both have similar amount of power, similar ability to affect the decisions that the family is taking. Of course, there are compromises that needs to be done, but there is not one person who is the bulldozer and always has the final say, and one person who always have to bend to the other's will. Also, there are no patterns of put downs in a healthy relationship. So everyone can lose their temper or say something careless or mean, even if they are not toxic or abusive. But when it becomes a pattern, so one partner putting down, criticizing, making the other person feel small, dumb, and so on, then it is a pattern, and that should not exist in a healthy relationship. Also, no one should be scared of retribution. If you don't comply with the other partner, or if you irritate them, or if you break their rules, there is no they don't retribute, they don't take revenge on you and make you be sorry for that. And also, there should not be one person that has more privileges. One person who are able to do anything they want on their spare time, while the other one is stuck with the responsibilities. Okay, so then, yeah. So this is an image then of a toxic relationship. And you see the little arrogant man is standing here on top of the woman who looks tired and a bit small. Typical of a toxic marriage then is that the healthy partner is taking much more responsibility, and is also made to take the blame if something goes wrong, which it always does in life. The toxic person, even though they are not involved that much in the everyday running of things, they are the one to make the rules. They say they get the veto right. And there is a pattern of put downs, criticizing or demeaning or not being loving and kind or fair with the other partner. There is also this fear of retribution. So walking on eggshells means that the toxic partner has a lot of triggers or things that they will blow their top off if you do. Things that you know that if I do this thing, they will be angry or give me the silent treatment or not treat me good. So I better avoid it. Or that's the thing that set off the argument last time. And you may not be conscious of that you're doing these things. You may not be conscious about the fact that you are afraid of their temper. But when you are adjusting your behavior to not deal with, like you're adjusting your behavior to not set them off, that means that you are somehow afraid of how they may act. The toxic partner typically also has more privileges. They get to decide. So in a normal family, there is a certain amount, as I said, of chores that need to be done, and there are a certain amount of free time. There are a limited amount of resources, so money and so on. And a toxic partner typically gets a bigger piece of that pie. So more free time, more money to spend on themselves, and more power, so more to say in their relationship. And this, like these patterns, the topic is still no contact, but I have to explain these things in order to so that you will understand why no contact is important, or low contact after the relationship ends. So why does this happen? And why does the toxic partner take more of the good things and have more to say in the relationship? And right now I'm using the image of a man to symbolize the toxic partner, but it can be a woman as well. Okay, so this is an image that I got from this book that I'm reading right now, from Landy Bancroft, who worked with abusive men for, let's see, what did he say? 30 years. That's amazing. 30 years he worked with abusive men and their families, and he worked with thousands of men and their families. And he symbolizes the inner world of the abuser, the toxic partner, with these three circles. So the toxic partner has this huge circle when it comes to his view on himself, what he should be entitled to, what his rights should be in the relationship. That's a really, really big circle. And then his wife and the kids, they have small circles, so they are not that important. He's the important one, and he's very self-centered. So he sees his needs and desires as much more important than the rest of the families. And gradually, when you live with such a person, you unconsciously start to adjust to this view. You see your own needs as, it's not that important, I can manage, or he needs it better than me, or he has been in such a low mood, so I better let him do that thing. So you adjust to this view that he has, and you start to take that on as well. Also, in a toxic relationship, there is this, there are things that trap you in the relationship, and a lot of that is done on purpose. Many toxic, abusive, or narcissistic partners are using different tactics to control you, to make sure that you don't leave, and to make sure that you will comply to how they want things to be. So I'm sort of, I have symbolized it here by this woman being in a cage of control, let's say. He doesn't want her to leave the relationship if he hasn't decided that it is ending. And to make sure that she doesn't do that, he uses different tactics. Among them, financial control is a big one. So when you have your assets, either that they are shared or that he has control over them, it's much harder to leave. It's also much harder to leave if you have loans in your name. Many abusers will take out loans or credits and so on, and sometimes coerce or trick the partner into signing loans or going into situations that are tying them up financially or tying them up to the abuser. If you have a bad credit, for example, it's very hard for you to leave and to get a place to rent and things like that. And abusers are aware of this. Okay, and then gaslighting. Gaslighting is the process in which the toxic partner is trying to make you doubt the way that you see things and refer more to their view of things. And if I back up a bit, as we saw in that image, so his view of things is that he should have the big piece, and if you want more than that, then you are selfish. And if you don't want to give him the things that he wants, then you don't love him, and so on. So those messages keep getting repeated in the process called gaslighting. So that's not the only thing that gaslighting means, but it also means that he doesn't want you to be confident, to think that you can make decisions on your own. And if you do that, he may criticize them or call you emotional, that you're making decisions on an emotional basis, or that you don't think long term, that you don't have the ability to make the wise decision because your judgment is off, criticizing the way that you do things, and so on. And many women are having problems with making decisions after living a long time in these relationships. And I was no different. So when I exited the relationship, and it has been 2 years now, it was so bad that I've told this story before, but I wanted to go and buy some clothes for myself. which I hadn't done for a long time. And I hadn't go. I have a, or at that point, I had not gone shopping for myself for a long time or bought something for myself, and I felt very insecure when it came to making decisions. But I decided that I will go and buy a sweater and some clothes for myself. But when I was in the shop, I was getting anxious, and I felt that I was doing something wrong by making these decisions for myself. And then I couldn't decide which clothes to buy. And I remember this feel. It felt so. It felt really, really bad, and I had to force myself to. I'm okay. I'm just picking that item and going to the register. And so it was not a happy experience. It was really uncomfortable, but that's how affected I have been from 21 years with a man who was purposefully breaking me down, and especially targeting my ability to make decisions and so on. So gaslighting, and he also tries to break the partner's confidence. He wants to be the one in charge, and he wants her to be dependent on his judgment. And as I said, he wants her to be stuck. He doesn't want her to realize that she deserves better than what he's like, how he is treating her, or that people out there would treat her better, or that she could do things better on her own. He might also scare her from life on her own. If I left you, you wouldn't be able to fend for yourself. You're lucky that I'm staying with you. You're lucky that I keep up with your behavior. Not many men would do that. No one would want you, or you wouldn't be able to cope financially or so on. So he doesn't want her to, he wants her to be scared of leaving and living on her own. Another common thing that they do is isolate the target from friends and family members and other supportive people. Because if the partner is isolated, that means that he has more power, more influence. If he is the only adult that she talks to regularly, then she will more easily comply to his way of thinking, and it will be harder to question his view of things. Humans are social creatures, and we are able to adjust to different environments. If you change workplace, for example, you change career, or you move to a town in a different area of the country, or in a different country perhaps, then there will be different rules of interactions there, and people will have like the climate of interacting between people will be a bit different, and perhaps people's opinions will change a bit, and that affects us. So we do become affected of what we see around us, and what people that we associate ourselves with, how they think and act, that becomes normal for us because that's what we see. If you've heard this expression, tell me who your friends are and I will tell you who you are. That doesn't mean that if your friend is doing something bad, then you will also be such a person. But it does mean that the things that our friends are doing do become a little bit normalized for us. So the abuser wants to isolate you and to get more power and influence, but also because then there is no one there to support her in her views or to support her if she tries to leave. And then there is the process of trauma bonding, when the toxic person switches between being nice and being abusive, hurtful, or mean. And it is that switch between the different behaviors that creates the trauma bond. If you are very, let's see, I read about, so when people are taken prisoners of war, for example, and then they are interrogated and treated very poorly, then if one of the guards that are treating them poorly every day gives them a glass of water or shows a little bit of kindness, like a bit interest in them, or talk with them kindly, just one or two sentences, then that the feeling that evokes in the prisoner is gratitude. They're feeling grateful for someone treating them a bit like a human, or for that glass of water. So it's a really small gesture, but because the environment that they are living or that they are existing in is so harsh and brutal, then that gesture feels really big. And that it's the same dynamic in the trauma bonding. If the partner is creating an environment where you feel really horrible about yourself, insecure, treating badly, ashamed for what is happening, and then he comes home and is kind one day, then you feel grateful or relieved and hopeful that things can be better, and you want to hang on to that kind version when it shows up and think that that is who he really is. But this switching back and forth is what creates the trauma bond. And the trauma bond is an intense emotional connection to the abuser. So feeling the desire to be close, to be on the good side of the abusive person. And if you try to pull back a bit or create some distance or do things that you know that he won't approve of, then you feel anxious and it feels very uncomfortable. And this is because of the trauma bond. So in the relationship, all of these processes are active. The controlling mechanisms, coercive control, and specifically mentioned here financial control, but also the gaslighting and the trauma bond. Okay, let's see. Yeah. So you then leave, you want to end the relationship. What is then the goal of the toxic partner? Well, they have had control over you for a long time. And in many cases, that control gives them kind of a nice lifestyle. Let's see if I will just see if I miss some image. No. Okay. They get to have this power and the social status and the perks of having a family. So the support, things cared for at home, a partner who tries to make them happy, and the fun interactions with the kids, and they get to not do all the dreary or the tiresome, boring things that comes with being an adult. So there are a lot of perks to the toxic person in this relationship. And they usually are not happy to let you go. So even if you try to end the relationship, they will try to get you to stay under their influence and their control. And you are still affected by the trauma bond and the gaslighting that has been going on. And these effects that are still operating in you, they were put there by his abuse, by this abusive person. Narcissistic person is abusive. So there are different ways to say this, but when you're in contact with this toxic, narcissistic person, those processes inside of you will still be triggered. Some persons have compared leaving a narcissistic relationship with leaving a sect. So if you have been brainwashed in a sect and have really believed in the things that they, like in their belief system, your mind has it has accepted that paradigm and lived under it. Then if you leave the sect, and if you start to read an old brochure from the sect, or you start to talk to a friend who is still in the sect, then it will be very easy for your mind to glide back into that way of thinking. And in the toxic relationship, it is also this way of thinking about relationship. The things that you for a long time thought that you knew about him, and the things that your mind adapted to during that relationship. If you're still in contact with him, it's very easy to glide back into the way of thinking that was detrimental to you, because that message has been very deeply engraved into your mind. And many people who educate others about narcissism will recommend that you go no contact. And we will talk about it. I will get back to that later, because if you have kids together, then you may not be able to go full no contact, but you can limit contact. Okay, but no contact means that he's not able to send you, like let's say. I illustrated it like this, with a barrier between them. And no contact goes both ways. So neither of you should you should not send messages to him, or call him, or send him letters, and so on, or messages through other people. And he should not be able to contact you in any way. This means that you have to change your phone number or block his number. Change number is more safe. Perhaps change email address or block his emails. Let's see what more. On social media, block, perhaps for a while get off social media. And then, of course, what's more, well, he can, of course, snail mail you, but you don't have to open that mail, if it, like the letter, if it comes from him. Either you can write, here in Sweden, we can write return to sender, address unknown or something, and it will just put it in the mailbox and they will return it. Or just throw it in the bin. If he shows up outside of your house and want to talk, you don't open the door. If he's persistent, because some men who are controlling, some women as well, but this is more common with men, that they will stalk the partner when she leaves. And then you may need to reach out, so document what he's doing, reach out to the police, get restraining order to make him stop contacting you. Or perhaps consider moving or changing your routine so that he can't show up where you are. Okay, so this prevents him from contacting you. This prevents you from constantly being drawn back into his world. You want to now start to live in your own world, and get to know yourself again. Because often in these relationships, we lose ourselves, the contact with ourselves a bit, and we adjust to putting our needs last, and getting things done, because we often get left with very, very large responsibility. But we adjust to doing it also after his rules. So you may not, like, the way that you are doing things when you come out of the relationship, that's perhaps not how you would like to do things in the future, but it will take time for you to learn how you want to have things. How do you want to arrange things in your life? How do you want to have it in your home? What routines do you want to have, and so on. Yeah, and no contact is also the best way to start to break the trauma bond, because that is one of the main things. Like a trauma bond can be really hard to break, and if you are in contact with the partner, with the former partner, then it's even harder. Yes, and the barrier, as I said, it goes both ways, because if you're not in contact, then he won't be able to know things about you. He won't be able to check in and see where you are in your mental process, what you're thinking about, what you're doing. So he won't get any information about you. Many abusers or controlling partners try to keep control over the partner even after the separation. And they know your triggers. They have studied them and used them for many years. So when you are in contact, he can use the things that he knows will irritate you or make you worried, and use them to still make you react to him. One way that he may do that is to show himself as very depressed, or threaten to harm himself, or say that he is sick and need your help, and so on. Yeah, and yeah, I will mention it here as well. So again, mentioning this book, and why does he do that? Lundy Bancroft, from his experience, after the woman leaves the abusive man, and now we're talking about, it can be verbally abusive or physically abusive, so toxic partner. They often try to get the woman back into the relationship. And they do so by, they don't respect her boundaries. So she tries to get away and get some time for herself to figure things out. And he may respect that for a while, but then he reaches out and perhaps sends her a letter or a mail. And then he calls with an excuse. So, oh, I have this bill here. And like, it's a trivial question, but he uses it as an excuse to get in contact. And then he will try to persuade her to, well, let's just meet one last time and talk things through. And then when you meet him, he will put on the very, like his very best charming self, the guy that you met in the beginning and fell in love with. And many women will, when he keeps performing this charming act, it's easy to, even though you had not intended it, fall back into the trap. So get back into the relationship. And it's common that people leave these relationships many times. I think the average is 7 times that you try to leave before ending it the last time. And another thing that the guy may do, because you think that if I am, especially if you're trauma bonded or if you are afraid of how he will react, you may think that, well, if we are in contact, then I will be able to, like if I talk to him, I will be able to check where he is emotionally. Like you feel that you can control his behavior by being in contact with him. Let's see. I'm sorry. I see that you're writing in the chat. Hi, I'm happy to have you here, and hi, Libby and Bright Page. I will get to the comments if you have any later, and if you missed the first part, and no worries, you can watch it afterwards. Yeah. So, but that is an illusion because he's a great actor. So you will not be able to control him or keep him from doing something bad by being in touch with him. And unfortunately, some of these controlling toxic partners will try to take revenge on the, most often it's the man who tries to take revenge on the woman if she leaves him. And so leaving a controlling partner can be dangerous. And if you are then in contact with him and he will try to get you to meet up with him for any reason, it may be that he wants to come over and drop something off, or you should just meet up for 1 cup of coffee the last time, or there is a risk that he may try to harm you. And from knowing, like he has known you many years, and he can think back of all the time, like, what have I tried before that worked? So he does know your weak spots and he can use them again. So that's another reason to not expose yourself to that ability of his to still control you. Okay, so next image is when we're talking about no contact, it is not just between you and a toxic person. Third parties also comes in here if you want to do no contact for real. Because there are, like, between you and him, there are a lot of people who know the two of you and might be in contact with both. People who don't understand these dynamics and not knowing that it can be harmful or not good for you, they may share information about you to him. They may also forward messages from him to you. So if you want to go do no contact properly, then you should take a look at the third parties, the persons that are between you. There may also be like fourth parties. If he has a friend and you have a friend and they are friends together, then there will be this like 4-person chain. But take a look at those people. And there may be some persons that you don't know that well and you're not sure if you can trust, or persons from his family that will be loyal to him, and you may have to cut them off as well, or severely diminish the interactions that you have with them. So be careful about the information that you share about yourself, because it may also go through these third parties. And when we're talking about no contact, it also has an effect on third parties. So, and now I'm talking about the positive effect, because this is a person who is toxic, who is manipulating and abusive. When you are in contact with him, then you are sending a signal to others that this person is okay, he's with me. When you go no contact, that's a signal that I have chosen not to be in a relationship, not to interact with this person. Without saying anything else, that is like you stepping away is a signal. They may not understand it fully then, but eventually they may. So when you're still keeping contact, then you're like not outing him. When you're stepping away and decreasing contact, then that's taking a stance. Then the toxic partner, the toxic person also often try to do a smear campaign. So tell people that you were the one who broke up the family, you were the one who behaved poorly, you were the one who left all the responsibility to him and who only cared about yourself. You were the one who cheated, you were the one who took his money, and so on. And that smear campaign, it will die out sooner if he doesn't know anything about you. Then there will be less to talk about. If he still has information about you, then he will be able to continue to talk about you for a longer time. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, and this was just an image mentioning that you have to think about, well, I spoke about this earlier, that no contact can be a safer option for you. But I also here wanted to share a story from, or a personal example. Some of you may have heard this in in one of the videos before, but during a period I was in contact with my narcissistic mother, thinking that, well, I can handle it. I understand exactly how she thinks. I'm no longer that affected by it. I can put in boundaries or take some more, like step away a bit if she becomes, like if she start to act that way again. And I was also hoping that she has learned her lesson. But then she tricked me. Well, she tricked me when it came to, my brother helped me to buy a used car, and then she told me that she was going to take it to the, like before she drove it to me, because this car was bought. My brother lives in another town and she was going to drive it to where I lived. So before she did that, she asked me, should I take it to the service place and have them put them on some, because you need to buy new winter tires to this car, but if you send me the money, I can fix it for you. So I did. I sent her the money, and I'm not really a car sharp, let's say. I didn't look that much at the car's tires, but she told me that they were brand new. But they were not. So they were old, and one of them blew up on the highway a few months ago, and that was really, really dangerous. So even though I thought that emotionally I have this, like I can handle this, she still put me at risk and tricked me when we were in contact. Okay. Is it something else? Yeah, we have to talk about how to do when you have kids as well. Let's see. Yeah, I'm getting used to this program. Okay, so when you have kids who are minors and you have to still be in, like you have to have some contact with the partner, you can still diminish contact. There is nothing that says that you have to speak with them on the phone. You're not obligated to do that if it doesn't say, like in a court paper or something. And you don't have to invite that person into your home. Your home should be your safe space, especially when you are healing. And so you can keep that as a boundary, that you don't invite them to your home. Now, many toxic ex-partners will try to step over these boundaries. They just need to come in and use the bathroom, or they just need a glass of water or something. They will try to get past your boundaries. The best thing to do is to, like, they should not be outside. They should not be on your street or in your area of the town at all. So it's better if you can arrange for the drop-off somewhere else, either that takes place at school, or that you meet up someplace, like a public place. Don't meet them yourself. Always take a third person with you. Let's see what else. Yeah, and if you can arrange for that third, like if you can't arrange for the drop-offs at school, like then it's even better if you can arrange for the third person to take the kids and leave them with their father and then pick them up, for example, so that there is no physical interaction. And then you may have to have some communication in writing, and then it's better to use some sort of communication where it won't show up on your screen. So it is very stressful if you have a cell phone and he keeps texting you at inconvenient hours, and it may be I will get to your question later, Libby. Okay, so it's very stressful when you leave and they try to contact you through the phone, send you texts, and it's often like they will claim that it's very urgent. I need your answer within an hour, or you need to talk with me tonight, or calling several times, etc. So the communication in writing should be like through one. It's better if it is through email or like a parenting app where it gets saved. If you feel the need to do it by text, then get another phone so that you can hide that, like put it somewhere where you don't have to see it. And don't check it all the time. So pick one time. You don't need to respond to their messages right away, even if they say that it is urgent. Choose, for example, to check that their messages once a day or once every other day, and so on. Because if it has to do with the kids' arrangements, then that should be decided earlier. Like it shouldn't be constant communication around that. Is it something else that I want to say? One more thing. When we're talking about going no contact, this is hard in the beginning. So very, very hard. It's very anxiety provoking to go no contact with this person, not knowing how he will deal with it, and breaking free of his control, and also leaving that what you think is your ability to keep an eye on what he's up to, and then walking away when you are trauma bonded. And you can be trauma bonded even if you don't like him anymore. So when you feel anxious, if you are on his bad side, then that's a trauma bond. So in the beginning, when you go no contact, it will, like, the anxiety will go up, and then over time, it will slowly go down. And and for me, it has been 2 years since I left that relationship, and I have never been this calm or relaxed. And no contact has really been a positive thing for me. And not only with my ex-husband, I also chose to go no contact with some other persons that were toxic or who were the third parties that I didn't trust. And after I chose, like the last time when I did chose to, no, I won't, like I don't want to have toxic in my life at all. After that decision, I really felt a difference in my healing. Even though I can't explain it, like I didn't feel tied to those people, but just having them somewhere in my conscious, like I hadn't, even if they were not causing any troubles for me at that point, still it had a positive effect for me to go no contact with those people as well. Yes, and I also wanted to share that I created, because this was a viewer who asked for, like, how did you deal with no contact the first period? So I actually recorded, this was a few months ago, I recorded a video called No Contact with My Narcissistic Ex-Husband the first 4 months. And I've linked this in the description. And there I talk about this process. And I also share journal readings because I kept a journal. And in the beginning, I wrote the days. I wrote down like, this is 1 day, this is 2 days, and I kept count on the days because it was so hard. But I read from my journal in that video and sharing where I was at emotionally. So that may be helpful. And I also put a link to a video that I have that is about breaking the trauma bond in 5 steps. So this is going through what a trauma bond is, and then the process that I used to break the trauma bond. That I think will be helpful. That is also, you'll find it in the description. And I can tell you that, I can share with you that I am working on, and this is not finished yet, but I think that it will be very helpful when it is finished. Something that I call the Trauma Bond Breaker Kit. And this is a little more hands-on like guidance and support for the process of breaking free. Okay, so let me just check my notes if there was something else. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, one more thing. When you go no contact, you are able to tune out of him and tuning into you more. When you're still in contact, a lot of your focus will be on him. And even if you go no contact, a lot of focus will be on him for a long period of time, because that is how your brain has been operating for a long time. But especially if you're in contact, if you see his messages, you learn things about him, what he's doing, it will keep you still thinking about him when you now want to tune back into yourself. So yeah, you want to shift out of the way that you have been, like the way that your brain has been operating in that relationship. You want to shift out of that and start to heal and build your own life. And also, when you are in contact, there will always be this, how do I respond to this? How should I deal with this? Even if you have decided for some boundaries, when the messages shows up and where he says that it's an emergency, I need to talk with you, you need still to make a decision. So you need to over and over again make this decision. Okay, so how should I deal with this? And it takes a lot of focus, and it takes from your attention and energy, and creates anxiety. So better rip the band-aid off. Okay, so I see that there are some people here, and there are some comments, so let's go through them. And if you have any questions or want to share experiences, it may be helpful for someone else, then you're welcome to write it. Let's see. Bright page, live now. Oh, wow, thank you. I'm happy that you came. And let's go back to Bright page. I will do live streams the same time every Thursday is the plan. So 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 p.m. Central European Time. So if you missed the beginning, then you can always tune in next Tuesday. Libby says, hi, sorry I'm late. I'm grateful. Oh, you're welcome. Life is happening, so you might not be on time. Lydia says, I wish there was a way for these people to get cured. Yeah. I wish that as well. Or there is, I think when we are in these relationships, we want to help them. We want to find a way to get them cured, to make them see their errors. It is, I don't think that we can do anything to cure them. The way that they are relating to us is off. So anything like you're not able to influence them. When you're saying things, they dismiss it. And they don't see you as a true partner. You're more like you're there for to meet their needs. So they have this view of the relationship that is, it will work against you ever being able to influence them, or and these people also do get a lot of benefits from the way that they are acting. They get to escape responsibility, and they get to have more freedom and do things that they want to do, and still have more power in the relationship. I will share this book again, Why Does He Do That, by Landy Bancroft. And I put the so I'm sharing about books sometimes because I am reading and trying to learn. And then I will share the best parts, so some things that I think is helpful for you. And I sometimes will put a link. So I put a link in the description already because I knew that I was going to talk about this book, if you want to read it for yourself. But Landy Bancroft, he worked with thousands of abusive men over 30 years. And most of them came to his groups because of court orders. Some of them were physically abusive. Some of them were only emotionally abusive. And he says that very, very few of them were willing to change, to do the work that it took to look at their own behavior, to be challenged on the way that they were thinking and start to change that. And so very few of them were willing to do that in the long run. And he says that like the most important thing that he did during his work, that was that he always contacted the woman to the man who was in the group. So some men came to the group because the woman had made an ultimatum that you need to get help or the relationship is over. But he always spoke to the woman to help to support her and to give her some insights into what the partner was thinking. So Landy, he says that the most important work that I did was to help the women understand what was going on. So it was not to change a lot of abusers. He says that very, very few of them were able to make an improvement. And those who were the handful that was able to make an improvement, it took it took a lot of work. And they really had to apply themselves and be willing to question their own way of doing things and so on. Okay, but I wish that there was a way as well for them to get cured, but I've given up hope. So, Libby says, revenge is something I'm afraid of. The first time I mentioned a potential separation, he threatened anyone who tries to separate him from his kids. Inside, I thought, all the more reason. Okay, so he threatened to do something to anyone who tried to separate him from the kids, to harm them. And because you were talking about separation, that was an indirect threat to you. Yes, I think that you should take that seriously. It doesn't mean that he will do something to harm you, but it means that he may. So when you leave a person who you are afraid of, and once again, Landy Bancroft writes about leaving an abuser safely, and he says that there are a lot of factors or risk factors that you can look at to try to determine if the person is like a high risk to do something. But some people who do harm, hurt, and even end the life of the partner when they leave, they don't have a lot of risk factors. So those risk factors are not 100%. Like you can't only determine it by that. But he says that the most important thing is actually the woman's, like what she feels, the gut feeling that she has. If she feels that this may be dangerous to leave him, then that's a very serious sign. Perhaps, Libby, I don't know if you watched, I have a video about the coercive control, the 8 stages. You may want to look at that video. And consult, who can you ask for help? The domestic violence hotlines, you can call them and be anonymous and discuss the situation, because then they can give you specific advice to your situation. You don't want to give this man a heads up if you're leaving. And yeah, take precautions to make sure that you are safe and the kids are safe. Okay, let's see. And then you say, Libby, if he thought that was appropriate, then I best protect us. Yes, exactly. If he thought that it was appropriate to take revenge, if you want to separate, then you better protect yourselves, yes. And then you say, thanks for the reminder about info and third parties. I'm grateful. Oh, you're welcome. Not sharing the information with third parties because it may get back to him. And let's see, Bright Page says, Lydia, me too. I mean, I wish they would accept the responsibility for doing that work. Yeah. And then you continue, because they are worth it as people. We are each worth every effort. Yes. Of course, they are also human beings, and one wish that they would not harm others and that they would take responsibility and do the work to change themselves, because they are missing out on things through living this way. When you're treating your partner like this, you're not able to have a true, intimate and close and connected relationship built on love. The relationship is built on coercion and and control and so on. So they are missing out on some things. But I think it's important that we don't feel responsible for their decisions, because yes, they are missing out on things, and yes, they are, of course, like everyone. Let's see how they are worth the effort. They are worth to do that effort for themselves. Yes. But it's important that we don't think that we need to put up with their behavior, or that it is our responsibility to change them, because that's the trap that can keep us stuck and hoping for a long time. Let's see. Libby says, Dr. David Hawkins claims that he has helped some recover, but it can take years and be difficult if they don't think that they have anything to work on. He runs the Marriage Recovery Center. Yes, I did watch a few of his videos. I must say that I'm a bit suspicious of what he is claiming. He sounds very positive, or in the videos that I watched, he sounded very positive, like that there was a good hope. And then he's selling programs, I guess. And I also tried to comment on his videos, but he doesn't respond. So I think I stopped watching the videos and just. But the remaining impression was that I'm not really sure about that. What he's saying is really based on truth. There are people on the internet and on YouTube that are making money from these things. So as you say, a few of you, I wish that they will change. I wish that there was a way to make them change. Yes, there are people who sell often very expensive programs and information and courses that is aimed to make the relationship with the narcissist, the abuser, or the toxic person work. And often they are claiming, like, their take on it is that it is more hopeful than it is in reality. So just be a bit careful. Let's see. Libby says, many others say that it's like chasing a ghost trying to help them. Chasing a ghost. Yeah. Yes, they have this way of deflecting any responsibility and trying to divert the attention and put things back on you. They see every discussion as a war that they want to win. So they don't really consider what you are saying, any arguments that you are saying. To them, it becomes a war that they must win. And then they bring out like all the tools that they may have to try to prove that you are wrong. So it's when you're talking to a person who is not listening to you, but only sees the discussion as a war, then what you're saying is not even entering their mind. They're just dismissing you. So how can you help a person who has that approach? You can't. Libby says, is it better to stay to protect the kids rather than risk them having visitation? That's a question that I think a lot of women are struggling with. I actually did a whole live about this, Libby. I think it is called Staying or Leaving When You Have Kids with the Narcissist. If you go to my page on the live streams, or I have a playlist for the lives, I talked about this and my thinking about this in a whole live, if you want to watch it. I think, but I can just summarize it shortly. I used to think that I used to be afraid of leaving for this precise reason. I didn't know what he would do, and I felt that I may not be able to protect the kids. But when you are staying, they are affected by the behavior that is going on. Because he has a more say, his moods is affecting the household, and he's using the manipulation and the controlling behaviors on the kids as well. They will, or there's a risk that they will adjust to him, try to get on his good side, and the kids also become trauma bonded to a parent who is doing these things or this behavior. Also, a toxic person is typically trying to divide the family, so that, because then he gets more power over the family if they if the dynamic is not harmonious. So he may sabotage your parenting, or you say no, you can't have that, and then he says, well, why are you being so strict? And he will allow them, that's what's called counter-parenting. But may also drop comments to the kids about you, or favorize one child and treat them differently, and so on. So I changed my mind regarding this, because if you stay, then there will be no safe home that is free from these dynamics. So you can't really show them something different. Even if you say, you are trying to show them a healthy way of thinking and interacting, but you are forced to do things differently in the home, then you may not be able to have that great influence that you would like. I have also seen families where one parent is narcissistic, and unfortunately, some of the kids may start to adapt the same way of interacting and become narcissistic themselves. And also it takes a lot of toll on your health. So I can't say what decision you should make. It is not easy, but those are the pointers that I have thought about, and I explained it more in that other live. Let's see. Bright Page says thumbs up and an ear, I think. Okay. Lydia says, thank you for the book recommendation. I found it on YouTube as an audiobook if anyone wants to hear it. Which book do you mean? Do you mean this book on the Why Does He Do That? Is it an audiobook? I will just check quickly. Oh, that's great. Yes, super. Thanks for the tips. Yeah, you can find the book as an audiobook on YouTube. That's good. I know many of you like to listen. Thankfully says, hi, I just got in. I will have to watch the video from the start later. Thank you for being a blessing to us. Thank you. That's so kind. Yeah, watch it later if you want to. Libby says, good point. There are many selling hopium. Yes, you can make a lot of money from this, unfortunately. Thankfully says, children will either grow up to be like the narc or be like you and take abuse. Yes, unfortunately, that's like what you can often see. And Lydia says, yes. So I think that you also mean the kids. But yeah, it's not an easy decision, Libby. Okay. So I think we went through all the comments. I can share something else with you now that we have talked through the topic. And meanwhile, if you want to put some other comments in, you're welcome to do it. Yeah, so I will post a video tomorrow that is talking a bit about how things sometimes feel hard on the healing journey, and sometimes it feels harsh to accept the reality of things that yes, I was in an abusive marriage and I wasn't able to change him, and this is the way that life is now. So I have been having this down like every now and then during the process of healing. I noticed that I have a period where I feel really down or depressed. And of course, there's a lot of things to process. But I just realized that I am waiting for the other shoe to drop. So, and this was an insight that I just wanted to share. So, yeah, things have been feeling heavy, and I have been thinking about, I have a colleague who is a friend now, and I started to worry about, well, I was sick 2 days before Christmas. Now I left too much work for her, so now she really will be annoyed with me. Like she was nice before, but now I have pushed over the limit. So I realized that there is this glass ceiling. If you've heard about it, this theory perhaps, that we have some success, or we have a certain degree of comfort that we are comfortable with. And if we go over that, we start to self-sabotage. I don't know if you have heard that. But I realized that I have this like limit to how much I think that I can relax, or how much other people will put up with. That is quite low. So I have to be nice and really, really do my share and a bit beyond. And otherwise, people will eventually get annoyed and fed up with me, and the other shoe will drop. And this is, of course, from years of having lived in that little box that like not being able to focus too much on myself, or not being able to take the rest that I needed, or to do things in a normal tempo. So my what is normal has been skewed, let's say. And when I am now free, I am like feeling that, because I'm interacting with people, and I'm realizing that, oh, I don't need to do that. That's not my job. But every time I am like relaxing a bit more, I get anxious. And then I feel that people will start to turn on me, or something bad will happen. Now I have been not good. So now the other shoe will drop. This is, of course, another reason to be no contact with the abuser, to be free of that influence and start to live in the world by yourself in a non-toxic environment. But I just wanted to share that, because if you are also like you might be able to relate to that, or get some help from that. And as I said, I did film a video earlier this week that I will release tomorrow. And that video is more when I'm talking about missing that dream of the relationship, that dream that he will one day look into your eyes and realize how much you have done for him and how bad he's been, and start to change. But I will not buy the David Hawkins program. Let's see. Now there came some new comments. Libby says, Christine Cocciola talks about being the safe parent and providing that peace in a separate home, at least giving the kids a 50% chance of peace and stability, or a tranquil, supportive home. Yes, that's very wise. I think Christine Cocciola, she does talk about coercive control as well, I think. I listened to one of her talks. She sounds wise. Libby says, I'm so grateful to hear your input, Emma, because you are in it and coming out through it so recently, and you get it. You're close enough to have insight, yet relaxed enough not to let it get you so tense. Yeah, thank you. I'm very happy that it is helpful. I just mean that you're not bogged down or distracted by the stress that these relationships bring. Yes, it takes some distance before you start to understand it, or what is going on. And I started to, like, even though I was reading and listening to a lot about narcissism when I was in the relationship, when I really started to understand it fully was after I left. So it took some distance to see the situation, and to see how, because when you're in it, that is like, it's much harder to see something that you are still in. It is like trying to see the water when you are like swimming under it, or it's hard to judge properly what is going on. And really, when I fully started to notice or understand it, was after I've been out for it for over a year. And because then I had something to compare with. Now I have a home where I feel at peace. I don't have to be like tense or afraid to be criticized, and you don't have something to compare with when you're in that, because it took it took such a long time for you to get to the point where you are now. So it happened gradually. So it's sort of like if you have an arm that is in a cast that you can't use, then you get adjusted to living like that. And you can't fully understand how adjusted you were and how constrained you were before you are able to get the cast off and start to use the arming. So I'm happy that I can give some insight from where I am now. Bright Page says, yeah, your point earlier about feeling like your role is working for them to solve their responsibilities. It pressures you to abandon your own. Yes. You stop taking responsibility for your own feelings because theirs are so overwhelming and you feel responsible for it. Yes. And Bright Page says, yes, I hope you can enjoy relaxing more and more in your recovery from toxicity. Yes, I hope so as well. It is very uncomfortable to get these feelings that, oh, now they might be angry with me and now I am no good anymore. It's Libby says, I can't afford David Hawkins anyway. Rot FL. I don't know what that means, but you sound, it was a funny face then. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, they're wearing a human suit and you naturally want to respond to them like they are a human, but their brains are wired to be a different kind of human, maybe. Yeah, there are some people who has described it like that. Like they're not thinking the same way as people who are not narcissistic, and they're not functioning the same way. I think that they have a different paradigm, like they have a different rules for themselves and different goals in their lives. So that will affect their whole way of thinking and interacting with people. But yeah, we think that they think like us before we understand that they don't. So, and that's also why we feel that we like have a lot of compassion and hope that they will change. Because if we were doing that, I used to think something like this: oh, he must really be hurt and off balance. I can't imagine what would make me act like that. If I acted like that, I must have been really, really like hurt or feeling really bad to be able to do that. So he must be feeling like that. So I have to have some special compassion for him. He's really in a hard place. And Libby says, that can be easy to forget. You mean that they are not thinking the way that we think? Yes, it can be easy to forget that, and especially if you leave and then you're still in contact, and after a while they reach out to you and act nice, then you forget that that's an act. You think that you forget that they're not thinking like you, and you start to see them as like a compassionate and normal person again. So let's see. And Libby says, Bright Page, yes, exactly. Or solving their feelings, frustrations. You mean that we become responsible for solving their feelings and fixing their frustrations? Yeah. And we get trapped in thinking that if we're able to do that, then things will be fine. And I think that they also use this in a way to divert attention. Again, if I then show this book that is apparently that you can find it as an audiobook on YouTube as well. Lonely Bancroft says that the abuser, he does that on purpose. He wants to be a mysterium, because if you knew what he was really up to, then you wouldn't stay, like you wouldn't be able to get away with it if he was clear about only thinking about himself and so on. So they do blame their behavior on other things. I have an anger problem, or it was so stressful at work, or something else. They try to divert your attention to other things. And one thing that is quite common, I think, is to talk about the finances as being a stress factor. So if we could have it better off financially, then I wouldn't be as stressed, and then we would have a better relationship. Okay, let's see. M. Gray. After 2 near-death experiences directly resulting from the actions of 2 male abusers within the span of 3 years, it's now become down to pure survival to refuse to accept responsibility for them. Oh, I'm sorry that you went through that 2 near-death experiences. It sounds serious. Okay. And now you have come to a place where you feel that to survive, you have to let go and refuse any responsibility for them. Yes. That's sort of what happened to me as well, actually. Like the final or the last part of our relationship, my ex-husband tried to end my life. And it became increasingly clear that he was only taking decisions that would benefit him, and he would make things very hard for me and the kids. So I realized that it's either me or him, and I can't have any pity for him anymore, because he doesn't care. He does it on purpose. And then Grace says, they know exactly what they are doing. Don't fool yourselves that they don't. And yes, that's what you meant. Yeah, I agree. I think that. And then you say, that's exactly my experience too. Yeah, you came to the same place. It's a very hard place to come to when you see it that clearly. And it took me 21 years. So, but I really saw it very, very clearly that he does it on purpose. He wants to hurt me and harm me and do things difficult for me, and he is enjoying it. That sounds horrible, but that was what he was doing, and it was very obvious. So that, because I saw it that clearly in the end, after all that confusion and blaming other things, I am also very certain that they know what they're doing. And that's Lonely Bancroft's conclusion as well, that the people who are acting this way in relationships, they know what they're doing. But they try to confuse you, blame other things. Okay, it's a very harsh reality to face. Yes, yes it is. It changes the whole way that you see the world and other people, because this means that you have to realize that people like this exists, like not only in movies, they exist in my home. I got into a relationship with a person who thought like this and who tricked me. And yeah, it's harsh. Yeah, I will talk about this in tomorrow's video a bit as well. It was like waking up to a much harsher reality than I thought that I was living in. Before I realized that this is on purpose, I'm getting abused. My view of the world and other people was much nicer, or more, let's say, I thought that I was living in a better world. So it was hard to realize. And Libby says, that's so scary. My heart goes out to women who deal with this. At the same time, I feel grateful to know what I might be up against. Yes, it is scary, but it is better to know and to understand it, so that you can take the measures to protect yourself. Yeah, my heart also goes out to all the women who are dealing with this, and to you as well, Libby. It's a hard thing to go through, and it is scary. Okay. Are there any other questions? I'm very happy that you joined me today, all of you. And as I said, I will continue to do the live streams 4 p.m. Eastern time on Thursdays. So if you are free and able to join, you are very welcome to do so. And if you have some topic suggestions or questions, you're always welcome to comment on some of the videos. I do read them and take them into consideration and try to adjust the content so that it will be helpful to those of you who are part of this community. Let's see. Yeah, thank you, Libby. Thank you for joining. I hope that you will have a peaceful evening with your kids, if it is evening where you are. Here it is nighttime, so I think I will end live stream then. Yeah, thank you for joining me. Bye.